Hello guys, I'm Showdown King, we're back here once again. You saw the title of the video, the Japanese four-way showdown for the Japanese title championship. You saw that thumbnail, you saw the images, yes. In my personal opinion, after this recent Keith Dragon vs Sakamoto fight, things will be heating up for the side of the Japanese youth. You got the champion Amai just knocking out champions left and right. You got Itagaki trying to gain redemption. You got Hoshi needs something to do. And we got this brand new character, Daisuke, wanna be introduced as another potential challenger for Amai. Things will be heating up. Things will be going down in the Hajime Ippo universe. Just the hype, the exit list is just right around the corner. And this really started up when I found out that Daisuke wanted to challenge for the title, and I just started thinking of the possibilities. What if he go against Amai? What if he go against Itagaki? What about Hoshi? Some might say, what about Fumiko? Well, what about that guy, the guy with the flicker jabs? And my only thing with him is the fact that we haven't seen him in a while. So potentially it could be like a five-way showdown clash with Japanese Supremacy, but there's no guarantee of that. There's no real guarantee. At least we've seen Hoshi. At least we've seen Daisuke. At least we've seen Itagaki, right? Even though Itagaki's in the slum, we've seen him. So it's still thought that Itagaki still, to a certain degree, deep down in his heart, still want to go against Amai for a third time. Particularly, for a third time. It'll be the fourth or fifth time just in general, because they fought like twice during the amateurs and he lost. And these is like, somebody say, why bring up Hoshi? Hoshi hasn't done anything in decades. He's just been in the background. Hoshi just had like a major moment, I guess you can say, with Sendo, Ippo, and with Sendo and Ippo. Ippo's like, don't waste time, don't burn time, don't let Sendo calm down. And somebody say, oh, it was just Ippo supporting Sendo. We don't know what type of psychological effect that actually had on Hoshi. Just remember, Hoshi, one of his goals, just like Itagaki and Amai, he also wanted to fight Ippo at one period of time. He even talking about in chats before, like, are you just okay with this? Just watching your own friend just degrade and just a basic corner man and nothing else? Instead of really get an answer to it, just like, shut up, just change the subject of conversation. And that was just pretty much it. So Hoshi still has some interest in fighting Ippo, just like Itagaki, just like Amai, just like Daisuke Wannabe also had dreams to want to fight Ippo recently, which is just recently brought up, like chapter like 1333, like 32, somewhere around there. So it's not just like, oh, I'm just pulling this out of nowhere, this is just showing up. There's actual recent chapters that support what I'm saying. So in my opinion, it would like somebody say, oh, after this Ippo's gonna come back, Ippo's gonna come back. I believe Ippo will come back after this whole little Itagaki four-way showdown for Japanese Supremacy show coming out. Now, somebody say, why would I call it that? Because there is a case that could make this like a mini tournament, another A-class tournament per se. Even though we already had an A-class tournament, we could have some type of four-way tournament, just like how the real-life boxer Alexander Usyk had a four-way showdown to like not Japanese, had a four-way tournament eliminated for the undisputed for the cruiserweight class, and that's how Alexander Usyk became undisputed, and why Alexander Usyk is a major name in the heavyweight as a heavyweight today. That's why we had. Like I said, undisputed is a very major title, and sure, they're just fighting for the Japanese title. But Japanese Supremacy was a thing. Ippo had to knock down some tough competitions, some tough rivals. Some might say, oh, he didn't have to go against Mishiba. He had to go with Sendo after he fought him. Nah, he didn't. He had to go against Sendo after he won the belt. He was just like Sonata, that old guy. Someone like you characters like someone more was a challenge. And other Japanese fighters, like, even whether you take Hoshi serious, not Hoshi, whether you take Hajime seriously or not, nearly potentially will knock Ippo out. Even though he was a one-handed boxer, so it's just, I can't see how Amai can really put his eyes on taking on like Sendo or Miyata without going like clearing out his own division first. And some might say Ippo didn't do that, but technically he did with Ward and Sendo Mishiba, and she wasn't able to get the Miyata, but for the Ricky King Eliminator, Mishiba took out Miyata, making theoretically in a crowd viewpoint better, and Ippo took out Mishiba and Sendo twice. So he pretty much cleared out his generation of Japanese featherweights and he just go onto the world stage. Now Miyata took the opposite route. He chose to go internationally and go and get some outside competition, build up his resume and take on tough down challenges as in Jimmy the Ill Fister The L Fister, the Fister, my goodness. So it's just one of those things where if there's gonna be any further development towards Amai, if Amai has any thought on taking on like at Miata, he's gonna have to clear his weight division in my opinion. And I feel like we still don't know what it's Daisuke wannabe got up his sleeve or anything like that. So it could literally just be anything. I personally believe Amai needs this for his character because as much as he had his goal as being Ippo, as much as Amai has moved on, we don't know how many challenges he's taken on in the Japanese featherweight class. Because there is two that he hasn't taken on confirmed. He has never fought Hoshi, which is a fact, and he has never fought Daisuke wannabe. Some of people are like, oh, since Mishima took on Miata, and then Ippo beat Miata, Miata didn't have to fight Ippo. Well, people still wanted that Ippo versus Miata fight, even post that. And that fight was just one of those things where throughout boxing history, that fight wasn't able to come through. But when it refers to Amai versus Hoshi, in my opinion, I personally feel that Amai he would personally think himself that he needs to take out Hoshi because, sure, Itagaki knocked him out, but just because somebody else do it doesn't mean you can do it. It's similar to the opponent of Jimmy Fister. And Miata did it, and Ippo did it. And look how drastically different those fights were. They both had a hard time with Jimmy Fister. Now, you can argue the only reason Itagaki was so good against Hoshi was because his natural talent, his own natural gifts, and perfect timing. If Hoshi was bracing for getting hit with more than one hit, do you believe Hoshi would have got knocked out? That could be anything. Anybody can come up with anything they want from that. I'm just saying that there's no guarantee just because Amai beat Itagaki, which anybody, even Hoshi or Ippo, could have implemented that strategy. Remember, Amai had no chance. Everybody was going for Itagaki to win the rematch, without doubt. Even though Itagaki didn't even beat.
Okay, MJ. I'm a couple blocks away.
Even though Itagaki never did beat or knock out Amai, he won by decision. So I don't see how everybody thought overwhelmingly that Itagaki would beat him just because he took out guys like Sayeki and Kurosawa. Because Ippo demolished Kurosawa. Demolished him. There was like no chance. At least Sayeki put up a fight.
Thanks, Pete.
The Kurosawa got demolished, got murdered by Ippo. I guess you could say since Ippo was so dominant, that's the reason they like that fight towards more than other ones, but yeah, it is what it is. But in my opinion, this little four-way showdown arc needs to happen, because you need to have somebody definitively better in Japan. You can use the whole Ippo comparison to say, oh, they never did have one, we don't need one with Amai Itagaki. I personally say we do, because Itagaki still wants it even though he was in a slum. Hoshi hasn't done anything as a character, and with the new entrance of Daisuke wannabe, that's all you should need. That's all you should need, and at the end of the fight, it's going to be guaranteed they'll have to fight each other. But of course, there's will Itagaki and Amai end up fighting each other. There's no guarantee that, depending on who Amai face, he might face Itagaki again, he might have to face Hoshi instantly, and it could just go down to Hoshi and Amai, or it's Daisuke wannabe and Amai. It depends how the characters are set up, because I'm quite interested in this entire idea of seeing this little four-way showdown actually happen. Because we got characters who are just sitting there, just doing nothing. Like Itagaki, just having bum fight after bum fight. He needs some type of motivation. Maybe he can meet up with Hoshi or somebody, but it's just eventually, in my personal opinion, maybe you like the character, and maybe you could say, oh, this and that. In my personal opinion, you can argue soundly that the way Itagaki gonna get out of the slum is through jealousy. I personally believe whenever Ippo started to really push Kentaro and Teihei, I personally believe that Itagaki's gonna feel a certain type of way. Now, does it mean like a little four-way showdown tournament for Japanese Supremacy will actually happen? Doesn't mean that Amai would want to sign up for that. No, and like including the fact that if Hoshi wants to fight Amai, you could just challenge Amai right now and there. Just like Daisuke wannabe could. So, in my opinion, this would be the perfect way to get fights that we want to see what Daisuke wannabe can do, and yeah, there's like no negative outcome for how this would turn out, in my opinion. So it's just, Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just going too far. And maybe just like, what if it's not just a 4v4? What if it's like a 3v6 tournament eliminator where just like whoever wins get the belt? Which very well could happen, because it's not like it's similar to how Sendo felt against Ippo when he fought Vork for the title. Because it wasn't like by any definitive means that he won that title legitimately from Ippo. Just like how Sendo didn't legitimately win it from AJ Dante. So even as champion, even though he beat Vork, he still felt like he still didn't feel like a champion until he would have fought one of the best fighters throughout the country in this pen, Ippo. And then he felt like, oh, I fought a legit challenger that'll make me Japanese champion. And in my opinion, Itagaki, from his performance, a lot of people would say it was nothing special. It was an outright shutout. So we could really say for a vacant belt, him destroying Itagaki actually means will make him feel like personally that he's a Japanese champion. It's up to Amai. I'm not gonna act like some type of Amai expert here, but he would, in my opinion, want to prove himself more. Because Ippo's just a goalpost. Ippo was never Amai's final destination. So him wanting to knock out like the top 10 or the top 5 of the Japanese class is reasonable. Because not only would it push his career forward, it definitely sets him as the strongest person in Japan. If he were to take out a character like Hoshi, if you take out a character like Daisuke Wannabe, and further his career so he can get closer and closer to the world stage. So when Ippo thought he could move up, I don't need to fight these guys. Then that guy called Takei showed up and put Ippo back in his place. So maybe an experienced veteran like Daisuke Wannabe would be that Takei character towards Amai, you know, kind of show him the ropes since Daisuke is experienced in like real life. And Daisuke might, some people might have the best career with them 7 losses, but he's experienced enough to be able to put some in my opinion from his record and from his career. So I personally don't really see any negative aspects of how things could go wrong with Itagaki, Amai, and Hoshi, and Daisuke Wannabe having a Hulu tournament. Like, there's nothing to lose. There's nothing not to gain from it. Like, Amai get to prove he's the strongest in the country. And take out top tier champions. Just Hoshi will be able to potentially get his revenge if he fight Itagaki first. Or Itagaki, if he makes it to the final, like eliminated, who get the Japanese belt. He's finally get to prove himself against Amai and finally win. Now, it would be funny if once again, if Amai was just like, you know, alright, I fight you against Itagaki, but yeah, we got to put that whole sister deal on the line again. What? Oh yes, oh yes. Amai was blown. It might not have been as important the second time, but you coming from me for it. I can choose not to accept your fight, Manabu. It's just up to me, damn it. It's up to me. Throw Nanako a part of the deal, and then I give you a fight. Hey. It won't be anything with blackmail, but let's be honest here. Amai don't have to give this man the fight. He doesn't have to give him the fight at all. So it's just because it's not like he's asking the forces just to go out with a date with him or anything. It's just you're gonna have to let it happen. Unlike Ippo's and Misa's relationship. But yeah, it's pretty much. I hope that 4-way showdown happens. It just makes sense to happen after Keith Dragon. Because unless Ippo want to train Teihei, after this Takamura fight, what do you guys actually expect is going to happen in the actual story? Let's be honest here. Besides from everybody's waiting for Ippo return, besides from maybe another third person fighting,
tons of empty space right behind the wall with a family portrait.
What do you expect to actually happen?
Leave space unused in a Manhattan apartment.
Like seriously. Like after the Keith Dragon fight, what do you guys actually expect to happen?
What is this?
We've had Hajime, Ippo and all these other characters for a while now. For a very long time. Well, I'm sorry for the technical interruptions, but yeah, I'm back. Like seriously, what do you guys honestly expect to happen? Like honestly. I'm just absolutely curious of what you guys expect to happen after like this Takamura arc. Because you expecting Ippo to instantly return? That's not happening. even if Takamura lose, I doubt that he even make Ippo flinch. Because if seeing Senna versus Gonzalez do nothing towards Ippo, what would Takamura lose and do? What would it prove? Oh, we gotta get the coach to the dome. Okay.
Secret keypad behind the family portrait.
You want to get the coach to the dome.
We need to find a code for that keypad.
And there's no guarantee Ippo in his next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights will be able to do such a thing. So it'll be a while unless he's on Takamura's undercard for a return for them to get to the dome. Now, including the fact Takamura still supposed to make his US debut after the Keith Dragon fight. Win, loss, or lose, so it's not like, oh, just instantly you're just gonna be able to win. So, in my opinion, it just all makes sense. It gives side characters something to do. It gives everybody who was a major part of the rookie tournament something to do. Everybody. Besides from that, besides from Fukimo, which it's unconfirmed if he's even still fighting. Now, if he is, we can have like another random guy. It could be like an entire 6-way showdown for Japanese supremacy. So there'll be no doubts, no what if or buts or anything like that. Just outright facts of what happened. So we could have a situation like that.
Work order for keypad lock. Looks like he used Harry's last day as the code. That must be the day Harry left for Europe.
So yeah, that's been my entire thoughts and ideas about this whole Japanese championship type of thing. Well, this 4-way showdown to supremacy. Because to me it makes sense. It'll give everybody who needs something to do to be able to do something. You will finally hopefully get Itagaki out of his slum, because eventually it's not just Ippo. It's like 2 major characters who took up hundreds of chapters that we spent time with and developing that just aren't doing anything yet. And sure, Takamura takes away everything else, because as soon as we got back from Mexico, it went straight into the Keith Dragon arc, and Keith Dragon was the main thing. Keith Dragon was the main focus since then. I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad, but I'm talking about post that. If you guys are just waiting for Ippo to return, like, it will happen when it happenens, and that's it. There's no.
Harry's mom planned.
I know. Cause I can't sit here and watch the series and be like, oh, 85 minutes, I gotta see Ippo return. No, if you're not gonna have Ippo return right away, then why not build up a tremendous amount? Well, build up a tremendous development for the side characters who need something to do.
Score. This must be the key for
they all need something to do, and then everybody can get what they want. Amaya can become undisputedly the Japanese strongest in the country. Itagaki will get his second shot and win or lose, and maybe that might him losing to Amaya again with Ippo in his corner and Ippo just scolding him again, or not saying the right words, or call Itagaki finally to snap and say, I'm done, I gotta leave the gym. And with Hoshi, it just makes Sendo's proud pretty much. It just, because after wanting to fight Ippo and Itagaki, like, Hoshi haven't been giving anything to do, and Sendo's like, oh, my studio's gonna beat up yours, he's gonna knock yours out. And ever since then, this Hoshi's just been there, aside from being one of the greatest characters to help out Sendo during his training, besides from that. But I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's something that can easily, quickly happen immediately afterwards. We're setting up some things for Ippo.
July 18. That must be the code to that room.
And some other things. Everybody will finally be able to get what they want, undisputedly, without question, without second thought. And I would personally enjoy it. The fastest man in the division, which is one of the hardest punches in the division. I see, who hit harder? Does Hoshi hit harder than Amai? Or does Amai hit harder than Hoshi? That is the question that needs to be asked. How good is Daisuke Wannabe? Like, so you can easily have Amai versus Hoshi, Itagaki versus Daisuke Wannabe, and then a winner of that just face off each other for the belt. It would make sense. It really would, in my opinion. And it will answer a lot of questions, without a doubt answer a lot of questions. So we won't have to have this whole game of, oh, we just got characters that are just sitting around. And then after that, it'll make sense why I wouldn't focus as heavily on characters like Amai or anybody else, because at that point it would just be Alright, we got some major killers to develop with them, and then only thing that's left after that, you can just instantly go right into it like a Mai or Itagaki type fight situation where, not a Mai, you can go straight into like Ippo development and a Miyata fight or a Michiba fight, or you can develop anybody else after you get Itagaki stuff out of the way. It opens up a lot of opportunities, and then maybe during that fight you'll be like, without second thought, without even debate or second question, finally, after all that time, finally, undisputedly, Amai's the strongest. Itagaki gonna have to do something else with his career. Hoshi got his fight with Amai, and Daisuke Wannabe had his entire arc character moment. And everybody gets what they want, and everybody wins, especially the fans.
Bingo.
And aside from Ippo, we've already got our development with Sendo. We've already, somebody said we can have the Ricardo Martinez fight. That's not going to happen for a while. We've already seen how long we had to wait to get the Gonzalez fight. That's not going to happen for a while. We're gonna have a big, massive piece of space because we was questioning when and gonna be another Takamura fight, and when Takamura gonna get his moment. And after all this, remember when Ippo lost against Gonzalez, we had all this side character development, and then Ippo came back against Antonio. Now we're having all this side character development. Ippo gets some, Miyata gets some development. Ippo gets this development. Mishiba, Sendo. Hopefully, actually, the Japanese champion thing could happen. But maybe we can check up on one more fight with Vork before Ippo combat. I'll be completely fine with that. Just one more thing with Vork. Just one more thing with Vork.
Kind of makes sense though. Michaels is the lead on Devil's Breath.
And maybe then,
I can find the Devil's
in my opinion, that's pretty much all we would need. Just one more thing with Vork.
An Oscorp property with a ton of
that's pretty much it. Just one more thing with Vork after this whole Japanese showdown. And then there'll be absolutely, undisputedly, no other character that we can develop besides from Ippo. So hopefully at that point, we get this little four-way little tournament eliminator. Prove Amai is the strongest, or somebody the strongest out of it. Maybe Hoshi might get his moment, and he's the strongest, and he defeat Amai. That would be the most interesting turn, if anything, if Hoshi wins the tournament. If he knocks out Amai, and Itagaki, and Daisuke Wannabe, that will make him undisputedly the reason why Sendo's student is the strongest there'll ever be.
Looks like a map of the Upper West Side. Bet I'm looking for a heavily guarded Oscorp building that Dr. Michaels visits. Nope, that's just Disabled Patrol. None of these patrols cross Dr. Michaels' path. Nope, that's just Disabled Patrol. Dr. Michaels went to this Oscorp building.
So I was just pausing and look at the game. So, all of you guys' thoughts and opinions. Do you believe there should be this sort of tournament eliminated for Amai, Itagaki, and all of them? I personally believe it should. I personally believe that this stuff should happen. And now, including the fact, after that,
where do these three categories overlap?
After that we have a small time development with Vord. We get to find out what happened with other stuff with the featherweight class, and that's pretty much it.
Building, but no Michaels or Sable. I don't think I've chosen the right categories. Bravo. Nice. Got some overlap with Dr. Michaels' path. Commercial building. Wow. So many records. GR27.
So, I was just playing the game, so hope you guys liked the video. What do you think? Do you believe Hoshi can beat Amai? Do you believe Amai is the strongest current next-gen featherweight in the entire division? Or do you believe it's Itagaki? Or do you believe that Daisuke Wannabe would turn things around? How do you believe Hoshi will fare against Amai? Do you believe after this arc, what would happen after Takamura vs. Keith Dragon arc? What do you believe could happen with Vork, which I already made a video about? Will he go for undisputed? Will he go for undisputed? And after all that, right, do you believe finally, after all that war, blood, and guts, that finally Ippo will return in his best form, better than he ever was, stronger than he's ever been? So many questions, so many answers. But yeah, being Sharper Kill, the guys' thoughts and opinion. How do you believe what would be the next arc after the Keith Dragon arc? And what are your thoughts and opinions on my ideas and how the story should go or will be going in the future? Being Sharper King, and peace.